Welcome back to The Canadianist. In episode 3, we looked at how the post-war world order was built and why it is now beginning to shift. Today, in episode 4, we bring two powerful forces together, demographics and geopolitics. As populations age and the global system changes, those pressures do not stay abstract. They show up in trade, in supply chains, and in the economic future of countries like Canada. When demographic decline and geopolitical change hit at the same time, nothing stays calm. As countries age, they consume less, they work less, and they produce less. Economic momentum slows. At the same time, if the global security umbrella that protected trade for decades begins to weaken, the movement of goods, energy, and resources becomes more uncertain. These two pressures arrive together, and that combination forces countries to rethink almost everything about how they operate. Trade is one of the first areas to change. Countries with shrinking populations can no longer rely on large domestic markets to sustain their industries. With fewer consumers and fewer workers, exporting at previous levels becomes harder. As a result, countries begin turning inward. They focus more on domestic energy, domestic production, and domestic supply chains. They also become more cautious about relying on foreign partners, especially when those partners are located in regions that are becoming more unstable. Geopolitics then compounds the problem. For decades, global trade depended on a simple assumption that the world's oceans were safe. Under that system, countries specialized. Germany built cars, Taiwan made microchips, Southeast Asia produced textiles. Goods flowed freely across the world. But as that security guarantee weakens, the entire map changes. Suddenly it matters where your food comes from, where your fertilizer comes from, where your oil comes from. Every dependency becomes a calculated risk. This is why supply chains are shifting. They are becoming shorter, more regional, and more politically aligned. Governments want key industries inside their borders or within trusted alliances. This is why we hear terms like reshoring, nearshoring, and friendshoring. The old model of long, complex global supply chains worked in a stable world. Today, countries are redesigning them for a world that is far less predictable. Demographics are tightly connected to this shift. Aging countries need stability. With fewer young workers, they cannot absorb major supply shocks or prolonged disruptions. They need reliability. But at the same time, the global system that once provided that reliability is weakening. This is the collision point. The world is aging just as the system that supported global trade is breaking down. And that brings us to Canada. Canada sits right in the middle of these forces. We are deeply tied to global trade. We export energy, minerals, food, and manufactured goods. At the same time, we depend heavily on imports for technology, machinery, and consumer products. When global trade becomes unstable, Canada feels it from both directions. We must protect our export industries while also securing the imports our economy depends on. All of this is happening as competition between the United States and China intensifies, placing Canada squarely between major global powers. We also face our own demographic challenges. Canada's birth rate is very low. Immigration plays a critical role in sustaining our workforce, but immigration alone cannot fully offset the scale of demographic decline. Other countries are aging as well, which means everyone is competing for the same pool of skilled workers. Canada is trying to rebuild its population at the same time the world is rebuilding its supply chains. So what does the next decade look like? It is a period of transition. Countries are rewiring how they trade, how they produce, how they move goods, and how they secure essentials. Demographics will push economies toward productivity, and stability. Geopolitics will push governments to think more regionally and more strategically. The world may feel tighter, slower, and more cautious, but new industries and new alliances will also emerge from the shift. The key message is this: demographics and geopolitics are not separate forces. They overlap. The world is changing because populations are aging and because the old global trading system is fading. This is why prices feel higher. This is why supply chains feel fragile. And this is why countries are planning differently for the future. Thanks for listening to The Canadianist. This has been episode 4. Join me next time for episode 5, where we take the global story and bring it down to everyday life. Prices, jobs, housing, shortages, and the decisions families and governments will face in the years ahead.